Hey everyone, this is Jenny with the Colorado Springs Real Estate Investing Podcast, and I'm back with my co-host Leah for today. Leah, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Jenny?
I'm doing great, and we have our clients on, Greg and Heather, and they are back to tell us about their house hack short-term rental that they have going on. So, welcome, Greg and Heather.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming back and telling us a little bit about this property. Um, I think for those of us that have been listening, I guess sequentially, Greg and Heather, they are real estate investors. They were out of country for a little bit. They came back and they are up to 6 units in Colorado Springs in 1 year, and they also have a couple of out-of-state properties. So they are doing amazing on their rental property journey. But I think that the best person to kind of kick off this property would be Leah. Can you tell us a little bit about, finding this property for them and just a little bit of context for that?
Yes, it was hell. So this was February 2020. I think we got this. I'm not sure when we started shopping, Greg and Heather. Was it before the
Oh
new?
yeah, it was definitely before. It was like the thing that was gonna hold us up was I think the 60 days for lending, something like that. But we were like in December, January looking.
Yes. And so we looked at a bunch of properties. I think initially we went under contract on an off-market fourplex that they were going to house hack. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, awesome part of town. And then it just ended up being a disaster on inspection. And the sell side was so slow about doing anything. And then it just didn't even end up appraising anyway. And so we were like, all right, we got to move on from this. And so we were out there in the real world, and it was rough because they're VA buyers, and at the time in the market, agents just were not even entertaining VA offers, which I think is super sad. I don't know if it's because they're not educated enough or if they're afraid of like the appraisal process or whatever it is, but that made it so hard for us. If it wasn't already hard having like 20 offers on every property and then throw in, that into the mix, we were just like getting no, 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 just over and over. It was like down to the wire. Like they were moving back. They're like, yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I couldn't even sleep at night. But we ended up offering on this house and cottage, and I built a good rapport with the listing agent, and I was like, oh, we got this. Like, I think we got this one. And then they went with someone else, and then we got a call maybe a few weeks later, and she was like, are you guys still interested, because this deal is falling out and you were like the runner up? And so I asked them and they're like, yes. I'm like, yes.
And then you were finally able to sleep after that.
I slept for like a week straight.
Yeah, because I remember, your strategy, you guys were very focused on wanting a multifamily and being able to maximize your VA loan so that you could put 0% down. So yeah, at that time that Leo was just describing, it's like, you're competing against really large investors willing to pay all cash for things. So you had that up against you. And then you also, since it's a VA loan, you had to occupy it. So being able to find something with an occupancy ability was also like ridiculously hard during that time.
Yeah, it was like the toughest scenario of all. Like, it had to be a vacant, either in the house or in a unit. And I think when we went under contract on the fourplex initially, it was the only one. Like, there was literally zero on the market.
Yeah.
That's how it was too, because we wanted a fourplex, best case, but there was zero. After that one, it was like nothing.
Yeah. And that one happened to have an empty unit, if I recall.
They were renovating a unit.
Yeah. So we thought that was going to be like kind of the holy grail for them until the property was a little less than stellar upon inspection and appraisal, and kind of blew that plan. So back to square one on that.
Yep.
Yep. And I would just say this is a testament to perseverance. Like, don't settle for the wrong property. That fourplex is not the right property for you guys. And I think what you guys have done to your duplex is absolutely phenomenal. And we just recorded a previous episode, and you got your fourplex. So it all works out. It's just maybe in a different order than anticipated.
Mhm.
And they were so, like, Greg and Heather are so sweet and gracious and just patient. Like, I would be almost in tears, like, emailing them. Our offer did not get accepted. And they were like, no, it's fine. Like, we'll go on to the next one. I'm like, seriously? Like, put me down.
We were close on a few of them too, and I feel like
Sure.
for one reason or another, we weren't the ones.
But we were also on vacation a lot too. I think we were in Paris, and then we were in Italy so we really couldn't get stressed at that time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they were just like loving life over there. And I'm over here like,
begging all the agents, please look at our offer.
I'll buy you whatever you want. Just
Oh my goodness.
go home.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm so happy that this one panned out. So you said it was a main house and a cottage. So yeah, let's hear a little bit. I heard that the inspection was interesting, and you had some unanticipated roommates in the property too. So let's hear about that.
Well, I mean, we can start with the raccoons, I guess. The discounts we were just talking about is a new thing. But yeah, there were a couple things we found out after the inspection. So
Yes.
yeah, the first
Oh, wow.
was in the cottage up in the attic, there had been raccoons up in there at some point. And I didn't know this about raccoons, but they use one spot when they're living as their bathroom. And it just happened to be right above the side entrance. So we crawled up there, and it's like, oh no, this smells awful. 'Cause we could smell it a little bit
He
on
could
the
smell
first
it.
floor. And I think too, like it helped at the time because it was winter, so the humidity was real low. And just imagine, like, in the summer, if we didn't do anything about it, it would have been just awful. So we had called a pest control company. They went up there and cleaned it out, sprayed it out, used an ozone machine. Like, I went up there and painted over it and got it to where it was acceptable. But it was a little bit of an adventure. This was at the same time when we were trying to furnish it and get it ready for a short term.
Of course, that's at least it didn't happen when the guest was there, so it could have been worse.
Yeah, so there's one, the bugs too.
Oh yeah, the Beetles. There were Beetles that, oh god, it was so bad.
I think they're
Like a dead tree, right?
elm beetles. Yeah, in the live tree. And in the springtime, I guess, is when they all come out. So they were either living in the tree or living up in the attic again. So trying to deal with those things. We ended up getting that tree cut down and had pest control just come out and spray, like every week or so to try to get them under control. And that was a little rough. And so this was when we were running it too. Like, we didn't find out about it until it warmed up a little bit.
And we had a couple of guests that had to stay.
Oh no.
Yeah, they actually were really forgiving about it.
Good.
Yeah, we really didn't have too many issues, really any issues with the guests, because we told them, like, hey, there's these bugs. They're completely harmless. They don't, and that's the one good thing, is they don't eat wood or anything, so they don't damage anything. But it was just a lot of them. And we just
And
told
we
them,
even see them, like, they
Everywhere.
knew when to hide.
yeah, we told them about it, offered them cleaning, in the
Yeah.
middle of the day, but it ended up not being a big deal at all.
So are you guys living in the main house and then Airbnb the cottage?
Yes.
Okay. So when you bought the property, was the cottage has it been vacant for a while, or how much renovation did you all have to do on that?
Oh, I'm not sure. So
It was renovated before we
Yeah.
moved in.
Okay.
So the cottage was renovated, and that's why we picked it to be the Airbnb, because it's the nicer one of the two.
Mhm.
It has like new paint, new floors. Like, they did an okay job at renovating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's super cute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it looks nicer than the big house.
Okay. Are you guys renovating the larger house while you're living in there?
Yeah, so we renovated the bathrooms and the kitchen.
Okay. Very good.
So we put on brand new countertops and cabinets because it was from the 1900s when it started.
It was so dated.
It was so ugly.
Yeah.
It had lime green and yellow laminate countertops.
Oh, fancy. Yeah.
New like white granite countertops down and white cabinets and the nice farmhouse style sink. So those were the two renovations that we've done. But everything else, it's cosmetics really.
Okay.
And that was kind of nice too, because it wasn't our first experience renovating, but it was our first experience for thinking, long term, because this is going to be a rental eventually.
Yeah.
How do we do renovations where it fits in the budget? And our budget was a little bit squishy for this too, because it's our own house, so we can justify making it a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
But learning that process and how to do it.
So is your plan for this one, since it is an owner occupied property, is it to move out, exactly at the 1 year mark, or are you guys intending on living there for a little bit longer and, just getting everything stabilized?
Yeah, so we're gonna live here. We'll break the 1 year for sure. But we know we're anticipating a move probably in the next 2 or 3 years.
Mm,
We won't have a choice. We'll have to move, and we'll figure it out then. So I don't think we'll move again before we have to, but we will move, relatively quickly.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, just due to your line of work, making you have to move. So that makes sense. So is this your first foray into short-term rental management, this back cottage?
Yeah.
It is, and like it was an accident too, because we were thinking we'd do it long term.
Yeah.
But when we found this place, and really even before some of the places we were looking at, it's like, oh, it makes so much sense to do it as a short term. Why wouldn't we? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a duplex, but they're disconnected. So the cottage.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's important to note, we've talked about short-term rental regulations in Colorado Springs. They can be a bit sticky for non-owner occupants, but very flexible for owner occupants. So since you guys are owner occupants in the main home, it allows for you to kind of, do that larger cash flow move while you're living here. So I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
Yeah. And how are you guys managing this property?
So we're doing it on our own. So we did everything for this one. We furnished it, we set it up, we made the listings, and then we're running it and doing most of the cleaning. Every once in a while, we'll have someone clean it if we're both gone.
Yeah.
But it's 95% just us doing it. Really, mostly Heather doing it.
You do it once in the blue moon.
Yeah.
So I run it, which has been interesting. I've had to learn to take my personal feelings out because people get pretty brutal, and it's located in an alley, so it can be kind of sketch. But that's why too, I provide snacks and lip balms and stickers. I go above and beyond because I know where it is and I get it.
Mhm.
And so it's trying to make up for what it kind of lacks and curb appeal. So it's been interesting, but it's learning to take my feelings out because I do get hurt. They're mean sometimes.
Yeah, I think that it would be hard when, you've personally decorated it and, put blood, sweat, and tears into something. And if someone leaves a nasty review, I think that would be kind of hard to, take.
And luckily, we've only had two that have been brutal, and it was because when it was in the summertime, and everyone knows in Colorado no one has AC.
Yeah.
And we had just fully furnished the place. We had started renovations on our place. We were renovating the house up in the mountains, so there was a lot of money going out, and so to justify an AC unit was kind of struggling. So then we went with the mini split, and one of the first times it was hot in May, it gets, we had someone complain about it. And I was like, we never told you there was AC.
Right.
we know it's hot. We give you, we're working on it. And he left us a public review, a private note, and a message about how bad it was and that it wasn't safe to sleep with the windows open. And I'm like, okay. Okay. I'm like, Greg, you reply because I don't know what to say to her. And then we were having one installed, the mini AC unit, and the guy, because I told him, I said, hey, we're getting it installed. They have to come on Friday to finish it. So he had spent like 1 or 2 nights there when it was hot, and he wrote a very nasty email. And I replied, well, you weren't supposed to get one. We're working on it. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. It's hot because we didn't have one in our house. So I'm literally sweating in my house just as much as they're sweating in the Airbnb.
And it's
Yeah.
not advertised with one at the
No,
time.
yeah.
It's like, if you want a place with AC, I don't know, get one.
So that's like actually like what I replied to one guy, and I was like, we never had one in the first place. It's not broken. It wasn't installed. Because he
Yeah.
was like, I'm disappointed that it's broken. I'm like, it's not broken. It's not installed.
I think that it's so interesting, like the dynamics, because coming from the East Coast, it's kind of assumed that you'd have AC everywhere, and then coming to Colorado, it's like, it's a major selling feature for a lot of things, and it's just, I would assume in pretty much all cases that AC is not present, unless stipulated otherwise. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting learning curve. Probably having guests from all different parts of the country, with different expectations, having to kind of accommodate that and adjust to that. So that would be a little bit difficult for a learning curve.
Because I'm from the South and AC is everywhere. So
Yeah.
even me moving out here was shocking that AC wasn't in every house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those couple bad reviews have really been offset by like overwhelming majority of people that really, really like it.
Yeah.
And have written some really good reviews for us too. So
Good. And what are some of the things that they've called out, as like exceptional? I'd be curious to kind of highlight that for everybody.
I think a lot's been the area, and it's really just like random stuff. So
they like
this
my
one recently,
snacks and lip balm.
Yeah, snacks. Someone stayed, and it's like, oh, my grandpa lived right across the street. So it's like, oh yeah, they loved it.
Yeah.
And it makes it super easy because we live, it's in our backyard to do little things to help them out. So one was they didn't have a toaster, and they asked for a toaster. It's like, yeah, I'll bring ours over. It's like that was an easy win for a good review.
Yeah.
What else? Like the dog thing.
Yeah, and like the coziness of it, because I did try to make it feel homey without overwhelmingly looking like you try. Like I like to do the designs just simple that anyone could like, and then I throw my little bit of personality in. Like I get 1 horse picture per unit, so I like this horse picture.
One was I had a Nintendo 64, so like an old game system, and I threw that in there, and someone had a 20-year-old son that was in there, and they saw that and just loved it.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Yeah, that's a really cool touch. I like that.
Yeah.
And then the location too, and I think it's partly just Colorado Springs, where like all the sites are like Garden of the Gods is close, where you can walk to downtown if you really wanted to.
Yeah, they're like a mile east of like the new South End.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So much going on,
Yeah.
and that's what I told them too. Like, give this, hold this property for a while because there's so much going on a mile away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a property that's very close by to your property, and it has quickly become one of my favorites just because, everyone loves the area, and it used to not be as pleasant of an area. And now it's just like, people are just taking really good care of their homes, and yeah, it's blossomed over the last several years. So I think that it will serve you guys well as a long-term hold for sure on that. Yeah. So that's that's hard to, I think, jump in with both feet to self-manage a property from scratch, especially it being your first one. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd probably do the cheat code of doing a property manager on that to at least learn from them on that. So like, congrats to you guys for figuring that one out and having, fantastic reviews on that. What has your occupancy rate looked like?
Man, so over the summer it was almost 100%. Like a few days here and there where it wasn't, but most were back to back. Someone leaving and someone else checking in, and then So this is our first year running it. We'll see, but towards October onward, it's slowed down a little bit, but still every weekend's been booked.
That's great. So roughly what would be your guess as to, you're living in the main house, you're short-term renting the cottage out back. What would you say your out-of-pocket housing expenses are for you to live in your current home?
So ongoing. So what our mortgage is 26, I think. Utilities, it varies, but it roughly like 150 per unit total. So that's 300. And it gets kind of weird because a lot of the stuff we share. So internet we use for ourselves, and then we just split it with that. So it's kind of like our own expense.
Yeah.
Same with landscaping. So I've been doing that, but when we hire that out, it's for our house too.
Yeah.
So for that, we've been doing that, so that's not really much. So maybe repairs really haven't been, after the initial whirlwind of getting it set up, like haven't had any repairs so far.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know, maybe on the high end.
What are you?
28.
Yeah. So what are you paying? Like, the difference from what the Airbnb covers.
So over the summer, it was nothing. So
We were making money.
yeah, we were making money
Wow.
just on the back
That's
half.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
So you guys put 0% down. So you
Mhm.
paid closing costs and furnishing startup costs, and you are living for free or being paid to live there.
So far,
Yeah.
and then like with short term, it's annualized, but I think
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, even now in the wintertime, we get enough stays, it covers like half the cost.
mhm.
Okay.
In the summertime, we get paid to live here basically.
But yeah,
That's
looking at it, if we split the costs, like we would pay for our own place, like that would be our rent or mortgage. It for sure covers itself,
yeah.
even on the down months that we've seen so far.
That's fantastic. I don't know too many situations where you can put 0% down and, like you said, annualize, not pay anything to live there as well. So
So that's the upside when everyone was buying everything up. Like mortgage rates were still really low, so we got a
Mhm.
good rate on that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's definitely something you'll want to hang on to for quite some time, I think. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that kind of speaks for itself, just the power of being patient and then also putting in the effort and time to essentially maximize your cash flow so you get the best of all the worlds on that. So congratulations to you both for figuring out the best way to do that and having an amazing rental property. So yeah, so any last words before we head out?
No, yeah, I mean it's been going well so far. Hopefully it does, close to or just as good next year, but to be determined. But yeah, I think either way it'll work out.
That's great. Well, congrats to all of you. Leah, I'm glad that you can sleep at night now, that they have a good house. And thanks, Greg and Heather, for coming on and sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everyone.